Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk Automotive Season 5, Episode 58. Pete, can you believe it? We're almost at that 60 mark.
Oh, yeah, no, it's going to be...
Almost as old, no, that's a lot
almost
younger
almost as many episodes as I am old in years, you were going to say.
In tonight's show, we have the latest and breaking automotive news. Our guest tonight is Frank Kistler from Frank's Way, a YouTube channel. Very interesting guy. We're going to have some fun there.
And we're going to have his son on.
Yes, and we review the Mitsubishi Xpander.
And then we're going to obviously have game time with Frank.
So interesting week. We've been busy, but I think let's start off with a little bit of fun.
Yeah, I was going to tell you that I'm going to study again.
Yeah? Really?
Yeah, no. And my favorite guy in the world has tweeted that he's going to open up a new university. And I think if Fritz can put it up, so it's the Texas Institute of Technology and Science.
So, what would that be?
As an acronym?
Yes.
I'll leave it up to your vivid imagination.
Yes. Oh, interesting.
But
yes, that sounds like a place. So we'll have epic merch, and what else did you say?
It'll be highly admired.
All right, Pete, let's get the show on the road. If you guys are joining us on Facebook, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Who's this? Murray. Hello, Murray. Peter Cronier is also joining us. Murray Crocombe, thanks for joining us. If you guys are joining us, please go to YouTube and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember that this is an interactive show, Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to find out about our subscriber status, because we had a little bit of a celebration about clocking 1,000 subscribers.
It's on 1,000, Pete. Thanks, Murray, have you subscribed? Murray, have you subscribed to the YouTube channel, man?
Because I want to know who the joker was who unsubscribed.
One unsubscribed to the channel, and now we are 999.
Love it.
But anyway, Sunette Brink, thank you very much for joining us. Sunette, have you subscribed to the YouTube channel? I wonder. Go to YouTube, Let's Talk Automotive, and hit the subscribe button and also the notification button. Okay, guys, are we ready to roll? Everybody ready to roll?
I am ready.
Okay, let's get into this week's news. All right, Pete, so first story this week, something that's very close to my heart. You know that I've got a little bit of Honda blood flowing in my veins. Mm-hmm. So if you've been following on social media, you would have seen that there's something called the Honda Quest. Mm-hmm. And they had a boot camp that ended on the 14th of October. So they had 28 lucky guys that went down to, where was it called? The Koa Bokkerveld in the Cederberg. This is why I'm doing this story, because you would never be able to say Koa Bokkerveld.
Koa Bokkerveld.
No. Anyway, so they had 28 oaks that went down for boot camp, and then the guys, just look at this. That's the brand new Honda Africa Twin that the guys are riding. And in boot camp, they had to do all sorts of challenges and everything, and what was it called? They had to do so. It's not just riding, Pete. They had to change tires, and they had to fix.
Look at that.
And there's a little bit of testing going on.
Where's that?
That's at the Koa Bokkerveld in the Cederberg.
Okay, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So the guys had to fit, crash bars and do all of this stuff themselves. And then the judges, the panel, had to unfortunately cut down from 28 to 14.
Sure.
Yeah.
A bit like idols, eh?
Yeah. So this is going to happen now from the 1st of November to the 10th of November. These oaks are riding down just where we were in the Kalahari just the other day. They're doing 10 days of hard riding and testing and all sorts of stuff. And then guess what? They're competing in teams.
Yep.
The 2 oaks that win get the bikes.
Phew.
Isn't that amazing?
When are we going to enter? I suppose if I'm part of the team,
maybe
you wouldn't win the bike, eh?
All right, so that's Honda Quest. So if you guys want to follow that story, they've very active on social media, but you can also go to the website www.quest-trueadventure.com to follow all the happenings of the Honda Quest.
Awesome. We maybe need to follow that a little bit more closely. Eh?
For sure, for sure. Okay, so second story. What are we talking about?
We got two to choose from. One that we had planned and one that I saw this afternoon and thought let's
talk about the Toyota.
Okay, so Toyota President Cyril Ramaphosa joined Toyota South Africa to celebrate the Toyota Corolla Cross ahead of its local media launch, and there is the president himself, and next to him is the president of Toyota, Andrew Kirby, and it's quite interesting. So there's I think the news for me is how much Toyota is pumping into this economy. So they, if you look at their cumulative figure of investments over the last period, it amounts to 6.5 billion rand, which is substantial. There's also a lot of localization that's taking place with this, so a lot of local parts suppliers. So there's 621 parts that are going to be manufactured locally, and that's resulted in 56 local suppliers. So it's more than just Toyota building vehicles. It's looking further down the value chain that's creating jobs. So I think hats off to Toyota for having the courage to carry on investing in this country.
Awesome. Okay, so and the final story for tonight would be something that we spoke about a while ago. You say there's some happenings with Mercedes down under.
Yeah, so I don't know if the Australians have gone barking mad during their lockdown, but the dealers have decided to take Mercedes-Benz to court, and of course we're talking about Mercedes-Benz in Stuttgart, and they're going to be suing them for $650 million in lost value because Mercedes-Benz is moving to an agency model in Australia.
Yeah.
We were actually interviewed by an Australian podcast about the agency model because Mercedes was moving to this. I don't understand it because in South Africa it's worked very well for the dealers.
Yeah.
It's crazy that I mean, at the end of the day, think about it this way: the dealers with this agency model don't have to own their stock anymore. So imagine the savings in inventory costs alone.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what's
interesting, and I think we'll keep a tab on that and make sure that we follow the story to see what happens. Like you say, that's also carried over and is happening in South Africa as well. So let's see what happens. Murray says, thank you so much to the late Dr. Johan van Zyl. He's obviously referring to the Toyota story. Yes, absolutely, Murray. Sunette Brink says, awesome show, guys. Thank you so much, Sunette, for joining us. We appreciate the assistant. Give us a little like there. Let me just see if I can see your like. There's a little bit of a delay. Let me see if it comes through. Guys, let's get on. I think, Pete, that's the story for the news tonight. I think we should get on to our guest of the week.
Yep.
Frank Kistler. I struggle with your surname. It's a interesting
German
one.
surname.
German.
Yeah.
German.
Okay.
Frank, thank you very much. Thanks very much for joining us. It's an interesting one. I met Frank probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
That was on the Honda event, yeah.
When I was still with Honda, and we had a Honda Africa Twin event, and this oak rocked up there with the Honda Africa Twin, XRV 750, old school Honda Africa Twin. I absolutely fell in love with the bike.
Oh, that was a very good catch there.
Because I know you. Yeah, and from there we've just been keeping tabs, and Frank is actually just like this automotive guy. He's just one of the guys, works on cars, restores and builds and projects and conversions.
It's always something that we
always something
yeah.
doing. So we thought we'd have you on the show tonight, and let's discuss and talk a little bit of cars and bikes, Frank.
Oh, finally, thank you very much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. So, if we were going to talk about the channel, you want some brief background on that?
Let's start with
where do you want to start?
Your background, first of all. So if you're a guy that's working on cars and stuff, surely you're a mechanic.
No. I'm actually I'm actually a systems analyst for a mining company, but I've been tinkering on motorcycles since about 87, 88, around about there.
Peter was about
first
34
DT50. So I'm self-taught, and I've ridden bikes for about 28 years before I actually decided to do my proper license on a bike.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
I'm in the same boat.
But it's not only bikes; it's cars as well.
Yeah, well, you'll see on the channel we've got a pet project that I bought. I sold a WRX STI, and I bought an old R30 Skyline 2.8 GTX, which we are now converting into a DR30 type of Skyline. So there's still a lot of work, but this is a thing that I'm doing with my son.
Okay. So we speaking about the channel. What is the channel? What is its name? And what are you doing on the channel?
So the channel is called Frank's Way, and the aim of the channel is to play it forward and take the knowledge and share it with people outside, subscribers. I've been helping out subscribers down to Cape Town, some in the UK. Problems that they pick up, I'll do research if I don't know what the answer is to their problem. They sort it out themselves. We're doing a lot of subscribers coming in. They do a service, I help them, and then from there on they maintain their own motorcycles.
So this is literally a how-to guide on everything about bikes. I mean, I use YouTube a lot to figure out how to do certain things on some of our cars. So this is for bikes now.
The thing is, there's a subscriber that I have, Ian, and what he enjoys is I usually take jobs and I break him down in segments. So he appreciates the fact that we do that, because the job will look like a mountain to finish.
Yeah.
But if you break it down in jobs, then it becomes fairly easy. It's a task, you can do it over 3 days, work through the list, and you're done and dusted.
Drill down. You say, sorry, funny. You say that you can look at a job that looks like a mountain and you break it down, but you surely must have had some really interesting challenges technically that you've had to overcome.
Not really. It's all mechanical. So if you start working with laptops and updating software on motorcycles, sure.
Yes.
I mean, you should just approach it cautiously. Take your time. Don't overrush anything. And as I said, on the motorcycles, it's mechanical.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the projects that you guys are working on. You mentioned the Skyline. So here's some examples of stuff that you guys did. Here's a KTM 990 side stand relocator. We've spoken about this. This is something that's very common on the old 990. That little side stand switch that could actually trip you up while you're riding.
Yeah. It's like a 300 Rand upgrade. We buy them locally. It's a bit of preventative maintenance that you build in if you're doing bush riding.
Yes, yes.
So obviously you don't want the bike to cut out. But what I usually do is when I buy a motorcycle, I have a look at what the known problems are.
Yes.
Especially 990s running hot. So I replace the fan switch and lets it kick in at about 80-85 degrees instead of your 100.
That's interesting.
Standard. Yeah. So bush riding becomes a lot more fun. It doesn't run that hot.
Yes.
If you work through that list and you build the preventative maintenance into the motorcycle, then you have happy miles.
Speaking about the 990, there's another clip, another example. How far can we go with the 990 auxiliary tank? So is this the 50-litre conversion?
No, it's not 50 litres. So there's a standard, I think these tanks do about 4 litres a side, if I'm not mistaken. So it's 8 litres in total.
Okay.
It changes your weight obviously on the front a bit, so center of gravity differs a bit.
Yes.
You have to take humps a bit slower.
Sure.
but your range, I've tested it, the range bumped up to about 402 kilometers round about there. If you're not riding like a hooligan, which is really difficult on a 990. These are enthusiast bikes and the throttle is open full time. So.
Sure, exactly.
I've just seen a beautiful comment here from Murray Croak Company. Says, Frank is SA's Mike Brewer for bikes.
Absolutely. Okay, so the last one that we want to talk about is which 8 motorcycles are tough as nails, Frank? So how did you test this?
So this is, I chose 8 motorcycles. I'm familiar with all these motorcycles. At one point in time, I owned some of these motorcycles. You want something that's low maintenance, durable, and cheap to maintain. So this is where I came to the story of the 8 toughest nails motorcycles.
Okay.
And yeah, they.
So tell me, which ones
We
did
took
you?
along.
Obviously, Honda Africa Twin, XOV 750, KTM 990.
No. The KTM.
Not?
No, the KTM
Yes,
wasn't
there's a
part
lot of guys in the Western
no.
Cape watching the show right now, and one of them's called Deerwald, and another one's called Bob, and another one's called Rikus.
And another one's called Dave, my brother.
So no, actually, I'm not biased. Choosing the KTM or dumping it.
Yes.
It just wasn't on the reliability list.
Really, Frank,
opinion.
that's very interesting.
You know,
Because I said to Frank that he's borderline schizophrenic. Because I've never met anybody that owned a Honda Africa Twin and a KTM at the same time. It's very
But
weird.
as I told you, if you want to add a GS into the
Imagine if you
then
owned a
it's
GS.
lunatic asylum.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
no,
would have had to take
no,
you
no.
to the Groendakkies.
So what was your criteria? How did you measure it?
What the 8 toughest nails motorcycles?
Yeah.
Well, I had a look. You'll see on the list the first bike that I chose there was an old XT500. So you have a look at history and the reliability of them and the simplicity of fixing them. KLR 650 was in there as well.
I
The
agree.
DRZ was one of them as well. These are motorcycles that are easy to maintain and easy to fix somewhere in the bush.
Yes.
It's not overcomplicated. Most of them were singles. Your GS, the GS 650 Dakar was actually one of them as well.
Okay.
With the Rotex,
Fritz will enjoy that.
with the Rotex motor. It's not a BM motor, but it's really a very durable
Yeah.
motor.
Well, I mean, Rotex is used with microlights, so
Aviation.
it's an aviation
Yeah.
grade
Yes.
engine.
That was one of the decisions I made around
Okay,
that.
let's talk. We'll carry on with the bikes just now, but I want to talk about this Skyline. So when I hear Skyline, is that a GTR, Pete?
No.
What do you mean it's not a GTR? It's a Nissan and it's a Skyline, so it's a GTR.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't mean to say that every Skyline is a GTR. You know, it's like we said, a C-Class can be an AMG, but it doesn't mean to say that all AMGs are C-Classes.
It's just of the Skyline family.
Okay, so this specific Skyline, tell us the story about the rest. Is it a restoration or what are you guys
No.
doing?
I was actually very fortunate to purchase the Skyline from Frank de Kok. He's got the Nissan Datsun Heritage Museum,
Sure.
and he doesn't sell cars.
Yeah.
So I approached him. I was looking for exactly this, and I couldn't find one in a clean condition. So I phoned him up, and he turned around and said, "Right, come and see me." We had a look at the car, discussion, and he said, "Listen, don't negotiate the price. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You get in your car and you go.
Yes.
That is free." And I paid him. It's a done deal. So I bought this car, especially for a project for myself and my son.
Okay.
He likes the JDM stuff, and I thought of buying something that has a reputation of being bulletproof. I mean, this car has 145,000 Ks on the clock.
Yeah.
It's got power steering, aircon, central locking, and it's got cruise control that still works.
Yo.
1985 model.
Sure.
Yes, like that's amazing.
It's an awesome car. It's a head turner, but for me, I will never make it a 10-second drag car because that's not
Yeah.
what it's about.
Sure.
It's a project for the son.
I hear you.
This is where we're going with it. So we're making changes, we're doing rebuilds, but my son picks up on what we do. And this is the memory that he takes with him.
Exactly.
Eventually
That's
down the
very
line.
special.
Yeah.
Very special.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get Caleb in just now, because we're gonna talk about the challenge that he posed to you. But I want to talk to one of the. Is it a conversion or is it the Moto Guzzi?
The Moto Guzzi, yeah.
What are we doing here?
Okay, so you want to quickly talk about that?
Let's talk about this bike. So,
All right.
This is the original bike, guys. Look at this. And I absolutely had a heart attack when I heard how much you paid for this bike. So this is the bike originally when you bought it, and you paid between either 16 or 18,000 rand
Yeah,
for
what's
this
on
bike.
about there?
And I almost had a heart attack
Wow.
because that's flipping stealing that bike. Okay, so now what's happening with this bike? Because this is intriguing.
So I bought the bike and from an Italian bloke that actually sold his Ducati as well at the same
Okay.
same time frame. He got too old of riding and he just
Is that
decided
possible?
to leave it. Well,
I hope not.
for him it is.
Okay.
So
Just checking.
I told him what I want to do. I mean, this bike came with a stack of history and manuals like you
Yeah.
won't believe it. And I stripped it down completely because if the frame was black, then I could maybe live with it. But you have two different reds in it. You have the silver in it, and the rims were not powder coated.
I see. So on the engine, you're talking about the red on the engine and
it
the
didn't
frame.
it didn't make sense. I just hated it. And
So was that original, or was that also somebody did that too?
he actually took it apart and did this.
Okay.
So I decided I don't like the tank.
Yeah.
I like the basic structure of where the platform starts.
Yes.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And I decided to do a cafe into it. So.
So this is going cafe racer.
Absolutely, yeah. One of your pictures, I'm hoping, will be the one where it shows the rear end as well.
Okay.
So there's a chap down in, there we go, that picture. There's a chap down at Seaside, Jake.
Yes.
And people ask me about this tailpiece, where it came from. And this is actually a 1974, 75 roundabout KX250 Kawasaki.
Okay.
Tailpiece with a number on.
Oh,
and that fitted perfectly. So I had an idea what I wanted to do. I just needed to get the proper bike to start the project off and envision what I wanted to do eventually. So the Moto Guzzi logo will be the nice red orange with the silver on the spray jib and then the black frame. It's getting two carbon fiber pipes out the back, like your not your 990 style, but some of your Ducatis that taper upwards.
That's very interesting. So everybody that knows me knows that I absolutely love cafe races, and knowing that you paid 16 or 18,000 rand for this, I think 25 is a fair offer.
I was going to say 20, but I mean
25 is a fair offer. So when you're done, please just let me know, and then I'll.
At least we haven't haven't had any alcohol yet, so that's good. Because then I would have most probably said chop.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna have a couple of beers afterwards and sort that out. Okay, so let's move over to the Africa Twin restoration that you did.
Right, the Africa Twin. That was also. I hunt motorcycles down on junk mail or anywhere that I can find them. And this Africa Twin, I actually just finished the XR 500 build. And what happened with this one is the guy fell over twice with it, and I think it was just a bit too heavy for him. So he advertised it, had a look at it, and I snatched it up. Mechanically, it was fine. We did a normal oil service on it. There wasn't any issue on that, but obviously the spray job was a mess up.
How much did you pay for that, did you say?
That one I picked up for 22.
Okay.
Wow.
I think fair prices for those in good conditions, probably about 45, 50 thereabouts. Yeah.
So I picked it up for 22. I remember the spray job alone cost me close to $5,000 about.
Yeah.
Decals was an additional cost. Seat, there were quite a few small bits and pieces that came in. But a friend of mine that I've known for like 20 years most probably now, he had a look at the bike when he came and he said, Frank, this is my bike.
Oh, really?
I said, well, here's my bank detail. You need to start paying it. So he actually purchased it for 45. He bought it.
Okay.
Amazing. So I want to, there's one question. Obviously working on the older bikes, because everything that we've seen so far is like, these bikes were, I think, manufactured in 2000 until 2003, 2004, thereabouts.
Yeah, then they stopped them.
The KTM 990, probably a bit later.
Yeah, the 990 came in 06 and then went up to, I think, 2012, and they discontinued production on them.
Yeah. So how difficult is it to actually find parts?
It's not.
Those Africa Twins aren't,
No, they're not readily available anywhere.
You can't just
parts
find
or anything. But if you have a look now, which we're currently sitting in on the internet, you can buy anything off the internet. But one of the videos on my channel is actually, my biggest fear always was getting parcels in through our local post office. They just disappear.
Yes.
So there's a video on the channel where I actually got a way around it. So you either use DHL or the big companies, and it ships to your house, to your doorstep.
I hear you.
It's just A bit more costly, not quite massively more costly, but you're guaranteed to actually get your
Exactly.
package.
Well, I suppose that's probably going to be cheaper than using a whole part.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely. I mean, I've bought parts out of Italy.
That's what I wanted to
Germany,
ask you. Is it all from overseas or do you
US?
source locally?
No, all the parts I usually buy. The only parts that I do buy locally is from Start Line in Joburg when
Okay.
I do some restorations. I mean, these guys have been helping me out for a long
That's
time.
very interesting.
Start Line is really something. But special items are all overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think let's get Caleb in here because it's a special story. Caleb, come join us. Let's see. Kom staan hier so by jou pa, Sena. Staan hier so tussen Pieter en jou pa. So Caleb, tell us the story about. Yeah, Caleb, say how's it to everybody?
Hello.
by the way, just
Yeah?
before you say that, this is the second Caleb who's
Yes.
part of a father-son
Exactly.
build team. Eh?
Yes.
Because Edward and
Right.
Caleb.
Yeah. Yeah, Edward and Caleb's doing the what is it? The
It's the
IndyCar,
the mini Indy,
yeah,
yeah.
mini IndyCar.
Yes, okay, I remember that one.
Yeah.
You talked about it. Yeah.
So tell us the story about your channel, and how Caleb's involved in this.
Right, okay. So Caleb, I bought a 1988 RM80. Locally, we did a bit of a piston and rings rebuild on it. And the aim for me is on the channel is, as you know, playing it forward. It's a
Yes.
community thing. Get people in, have them do their own services or assist getting their own services done.
Yes.
Whatever the case may be, we will do some reviews, do fabrication in-house, and projects.
Yeah.
I most probably will never stop projects. So obviously, the Guzzi will most probably go to you. We'll see how that one works out.
After a few beers. Stick around.
You're going to circle with that one. Yeah, the KX250 I purchased to actually just do a bit of riding with him.
Okay.
For the meantime now, until that leaves. But I think the things that will stay is obviously the Africa Twin and the 990. But
Caleb challenged you to start this.
let's start there. So
Yes.
usually this starts with Dad, I challenge you to do this because he wanted to do a gaming channel. And I thought, well, kids, how they are these days, they'll tell you, let's start it, and then it'll like filter away, and from their side it's gone. And it's
Yes.
something we talked about last week, and
Correct,
it's done. And I usually take him up on the challenges, and
Okay.
we've started it up in March.
15th.
Yeah, around about there. So I had no idea how to edit. I mean, yes, mechanically, and I can work on motorcycles, but
Is it
fine
difficult,
editing-
Caleb? Is it difficult working with an old bully? Because I understand your pain. Is it difficult, Caleb?
Not really.
Not really.
If you understand him, it's all right.
Out of the horse's mouth.
Okay,
So yeah,
awesome.
then we started the channel. I had a look at what works, and you know what? The one thing that I tell people is what I don't do. Is
Yes.
I really, once in a while, I have a look at the subscriber count. But for me, the most important thing is the content.
Yes.
I don't care about the subscribers because you need to have subscribers, growth subscribers.
Yes.
That actually have a passion in what you do.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's empty promises lying there. Like, I've got 5,000 subscribers, but
Yes.
it's worth nothing.
Nothing.
Well, wait till you get to 1,000, and then some joker unsubscribes,
Oh, yes.
and you get to 999 again.
I've seen that. I've seen that happen.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, but the thing is, listen. The other thing that's very important is now you're sitting there and you're looking at this one subscriber that left, and you go like, "What did I do wrong? Where?"
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not the case. I've a lot of times I've had a look at a channel on YouTube and then decided, okay, something else.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe.
Yes.
But there was no reason for it, why
Sure,
I did it.
sure.
It was just,
Thanks for making us feel a little bit better.
No,
I've got one last question before we go to the review, and it's for Caleb. So, Caleb, what is the most fun that you've had with your dad on some of these projects? Is there one thing that stands out for you, a specific project, or maybe one thing that you guys tackled on a project? Is there something that stands out for you?
I really like the cars, like the Skyline. I'm into JEM cars. I've enjoyed it like a year ago that I started.
Okay.
But I enjoy the Skyline, helping my dad wiring the fans or...
I've got one question
Yeah.
for Caleb.
Yeah.
And that is now having done this, has it maybe opened up your horizons to maybe a career path that you want to look at, or has it made you more determined to knuckle down and do a little bit more homework so that you're good at the maths and the science part?
He's already getting a 7s on his report.
Is it?
Okay, so he's a clever guy.
Very.
Awesome.
But yeah, let him answer that one. That's interesting.
It has opened a little bit up. Like the Skyline, I know a little bit more how to do stuff on it now, and I'm learning slowly. But I'm also thinking about career. I was thinking about being like a diesel mechanic or something, but it's a lot of work. A lot of work. I'm a lazy
I can see
person.
why he's a clever guy.
I like that.
Awesome. Great
Very
answer.
clever.
So he needs to be able to not just fix a tire
Yes.
next to the road. He needs
Exactly.
to have a bit more knowledge.
Yeah. Now I know I can go riding with you, and when you're older with you. Or now. Can I go now?
Oh yeah.
Will you be able to fix my bike?
I don't know. Will he?
It depends if the distance is 1 kilometer or 1 meter.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. You guys aren't going anywhere, but while we get ready for game time, you guys at home are going to watch the review on the new Mitsubishi Xpander. Hi guys, and welcome to Let's Talk Automotive and our review of the Mitsubishi Xpander. And as you can see, Peter's not here, or this is the younger version. No, this is Fritz.
The much younger version. Welcome, guys, and thanks for having us.
Fritz, thanks for joining us. Peter is working for a change. So I thought you had the most experience with the car this week. I thought who better to give an opinion. So let's start with the exterior and just do a little walk around and give me your first impressions.
So my first impression, seeing this car, it's a new car, it's shiny. I think this is a pearl white or something color.
It is pearl.
It was beautiful. My wife drives a similar car, just shorter. So my first impressions were, that's nice. It looks proper, and I didn't know this was an entry-level vehicle and the soccer mom's car. So first impressions were great. And I also had a great driving experience.
Awesome. Let's have a look at the front here quickly, Fritzy, because this is undoubtedly Mitsubishi. They have carried through this design on most of the vehicles. And I think it's an important time to say that this is the first time that Mitsubishi has come to play in this segment, competing with Honda, BRV, Toyota, Avanza. So interesting that they've come in at this angle. And yeah, there's probably a bit of a market gap here. So
And we spoke about it earlier. I wasn't sure where to place this. Is this an entry-level SUV, or is it just a passenger car, or is it just a sedan? But it still has a space at the back of a station wagon. So I'm a bit confused. But in the last week, it grew on me.
yeah. Okay, I want to have a mention. You said that this was sort of an entry-level vehicle. I would have to agree. If we look at pricing, this car just, the manual transmission comes in at just under 300,000, and the auto that we've got here
Just a
is
touch more,
just
320?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
about right. Very competitive in that competitive market. If we look at the Honda BRV, if we look at the Toyota Avanza, the Honda BRV is a bit more expensive, but very competitive. I think we'll have to wait till we get inside and look at a bit of the execution, if I can call it that, to compare apples with apples. But very interestingly, if we look at the front headlights here, daytime running lights, you've got your indicators and headlights at the bottom here, but old school. So that sort of gives me an indication that we're looking a little bit more budget-wise. Let's have a look around the side here quickly. We always mention tire size. This is a 16-inch, a 205/55/16, which is a very popular.
Is it a common one?
It's a very popular common size tire. So lots of options. Not going to have a problem there.
And as far as I know, this alloy wheels come standard to this model.
It is standard
which is
with
quite
the model.
classy and very nice.
Very large mirrors, which is nice for visibility. Again, safety, like you mentioned. An interesting touch when you lock the car, they also fold up and fold
Which
away.
is something fancy I wouldn't expect on a budgety car. So,
Correct,
yeah,
correct.
points there.
Look and feel from the side, Fritz. From the front, it looks nice and aggressive. Looks like a Mitsubishi. From the side, it looks like a station wagon, it loses a little bit of appeal. But from the back,
It's nice again, yes. But I must say, the ground clearance has a lot of in our country without road conditions and stuff. It does appeal to me that it's not a low car. It's slightly higher, but it's not an SUV.
Yeah.
So and the look grows on you.
Yeah. Okay, Fritz, let's have a look at the back here. Like we said, 7 seats. So when we open this, boom, no boot. Very, very small little area when the seats are folded up. But when you put these down, that's quite nice. So in normal operating conditions, that's pretty decent.
That's quite a huge boot, and it compares to the boot space of something like, say, a Caddy.
Yeah.
With the high roof.
Correct.
So it's beautiful. And when I lifted that the first time, I thought spare wheel's going to be there, but not.
Exactly.
There's some handy compartments there, and the not Mari biscuit is
Underneath.
on the bottom. So it's.
I think this is quite a clever design by putting the spare wheel underneath and making this into storage, because when this is up, you can obviously pack stuff at the top and at the bottom, which is a very nice design feature. All right, Fritzy, I think let's do the all-important Fani fit.
The Fani middle fit or the Fani back fit?
I'm going to do the back fit quickly because I think that will be quite challenging. But you're quite comfortable. You're quite a tall guy. You're sitting in the middle row.
Front seat is in driver position.
Yeah.
I have reclined the back seat of the middle row a little bit.
Yes.
And nothing's bumping, nothing's bothering me. So that's a pass from me.
I want to show you something cool. 7-seaters are always difficult to get into the back. And we've had some 7-seaters here in the past. And it was a mission to get in and out.
And I've seen some arse in the air with you getting in there.
So look at this cool design, okay? That happens, and then that happens, which is so cool. And now this is a normal sort of entry for me. And I get in, so I'm in, but now the big test will probably be putting this boykie up. So let's do that.
Okay, so headroom, pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knee room, let's see. There we go.
Okay, so Fritzy, it's tight. If I really have to, I'll be able to.
200 kilometers?
Never. Please understand, and this irritates me, this is not for adults at the back.
Yes.
It's for kids, and it will work perfectly. Something interesting, nice cup holders at the back here. You've got seat belts at the back here. You've got a power socket at the back. So they've thought about everything. We've even got air vents for the passengers at the back. So they've thought about the small things. Again, like I said, practical. This is a practical family vehicle.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Okay, Fritz, so we are now on the business end of this Mitsubishi Xpander. Very, very apt name, by the way.
Xpander, is that a reference to size, maybe?
Yeah, I think that little extra row of seats. Very interesting that the vents are also coming to the front from the back. That's a nice touch, keeping the back of your head cool. It's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got Bluetooth connectivity with your phone. You can do your on steering wheel control, hands-free, controls you on the steering wheel. Does what it's supposed to do.
So this is the automatic version in 4 gears, and I would like to know what it feels like on the road. I felt it. Can I show you?
Yeah, let's go for a drive.
Let's go.
Okay, Fritzy, so you said you're going to take me for a drive. So let's talk about a couple of things. This is what I want to get out of our chat inside the car. I want to talk about comfort. I want to talk about engine performance. I want to talk about, everything that
the experience.
The experience more than anything else. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna maybe then try to experience it as a mom that has to do everyday driving with passengers, or because I don't think a business guy will buy this to take his friends to the sea or something.
Sure.
So let's start with a drive. Nothing fancy, nothing difficult. Everything's where it's supposed to be. So I'm enjoying it so far.
Okay, so nice and smooth on the steering. Our suspension's actually very nice. There's a couple of bumps in this road that we're traveling along. So suspension's impressive. Steering wheel's nice and light, you said. So
it's light, but not too light. Some smaller cars, the power steering is too aggressive, and it feels like you can roll this car easily. I feel in control. It's quite nice. I did some cornering, and it's actually quite sturdy. I've got the feeling that I'm driving a bigger car than what this is supposed to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Seats, very comfortable. When we were in the back, the seats are very comfortable. It's nicely upholstered.
There's nothing negative about this. I think if I could ask for anything ergonomically, I would have an elbow rest here.
Yeah.
It feels a bit empty, but a previous car that we drove had a very high center console that was actually quite weird and made you feel quite boxed in. But this is nice and spacious and good for now.
But something that's very obviously missing from this car is standard execution USB ports in the front, at the back, everywhere.
So I did notice ample power sockets in the front, in the center, sort of center glove box, and all the way at the back. So if you have adapters and stuff, all the kids can charge their iPads. But yes, there's maybe a touch missing. Can we transition towards the power? Because this is a 1500 normally aspirated petrol engine with a 4-speed automatic gearbox.
How weird. Isn't that weird to have a 4-speed gearbox? Sounds like we're going back to the 40s and 50s.
But as far as I remember, the automatics always had one less gear. So the manual's got 5, this one has 4. And I've read a bit about the overdrive and how this gearbox works. And the tagline says this 1500 engine will supply enough energy to pull 7 adults up a mountain pass. And the performance on this engine isn't mind-blowing, but it's nothing short of functional and useful. So I think it's a good combo. Fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, but this is not a sports car.
No, definitely not. But are you happy? Is there anything that you can say that really is a drawback, a negative, something that you feel, no, I cannot deal with this? It has to have X, Y, and Z. For example, doesn't have cruise control.
Do you need cruise control when you drive to school and back?
No.
So again, higher level vehicles would require more functionality and add-ons, but this is aimed at a specific market, and I think it hits it well. Remember the things: brand reliability, backup, safety, ISO points everywhere for car seats and things, so you can easily put 2 kids in car seats and have more kids in here. So it ticks all the right boxes, and I think with Mitsubishi's brand reliability, this car is growing on me. I think it's growing more on me than on you.
Yeah, but I think we sort of just in 2 different places when it comes to this. Like,
and that's the beauty of different models, different specs. With this automatic top of the range model coming in at just over 300,000, that's good value for money. And to find a 7-seater, a true 7-seater in the same price class is gonna be difficult. So that's where I'm gonna stand behind this car a little bit more.
Let's head back to the studio and then we give our ratings and see if we'd buy this or not. So Fritzy, I think it did everything that it was supposed to do, so I'm pretty happy.
You don't have hair, but did I blow your hair back?
Thanks for that. Yes. I don't think this would add to my hair loss. But yeah, I think, like we said over and over again, practical car, does what it's supposed to do, does what it's designed to do. If you're in the market for something like this, definitely something that you can look at.
Now, I know I'm not your regular, but do I also get a chance to rate this?
Absolutely, let's do it. We have to give it a rating, and you have to say if you'd buy it, yes or no.
Okay. So this is not the typical car that I know. I didn't grow up with it. It was fresh to me. It's basic. The fact that my wife likes it and my kids liked it, and that she actually wants to change a crossover for this is a good indication. So in this market segment, out of my humble opinion, I would give it a square 9 out of 10. It does what it has to. It's decently priced. It doesn't blow you away with the power, but still it executes, and it's the soccer mom car, and that's what I guess it's for.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a yes. And
Will I buy it?
A yes and a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, I'll buy it for my wife. Yourself?
Okay, so I'm going to give it 8 out of 10, just because I know that other models has a bit of a better higher execution. You don't get a higher execution model in this. So a good solid 8 out of 10. It's definitely something that you could look at. I wouldn't buy one. Unfortunately, it's just not something that appeals to me or fits into my needs for a vehicle. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it does everything that it's supposed to do. Practical. If you're in the market for this, it's on your
It
short
suits
list.
me. I'll take it. Thank you.
That's it for our review on the Mitsubishi Xpander, and we'll see you guys again next time. Cheers. Interesting car, because that is really ticks the boxes for practicality.
And it's a surprisingly busy segment,
Yeah.
if you think about it. I mean, one of the models that you didn't mention as a competitor is the Suzuki Ertiga.
Yeah. So basically 4 cars exactly the same, competing for the same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but you see that these guys are still here, and they're here for a very specific reason, and that is because we are now going to have game time. So you guys at home watching with us now can actually join in with the game and have some fun. What we're going to do, Frank and Caleb, is we're going to show you a partial picture of a car, and you have to then guess what car it is. Okay, so who's playing who? Is it father, son versus Peter?
Oh, why not?
Obviously, okay.
Lost that one.
And listen, by the way, there's always a conspiracy for me to lose on this.
Absolutely not, man. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. We're going to show you the partial picture of the car. If you guys at home recognize it, please put your answer into the comments below the video, and let's have some fun and see if you guys can get it right. Are you guys ready?
Yeah,
you have to
ready.
shout your name if you recognize the car, and then I'll come to you, okay?
Okay.
And the clue that I'm going to give you tonight is 1970s. So you might have a chance
I
here.
might have a
Let's
chance.
see.
You might have a chance here.
Papa?
Okay, here's number 1.
Peter.
No.
Is that a
It's not-
Alfa Romeo?
It's an Alpha, definitely.
Yeah. I would say Julia. Giulietta.
No.
It's an Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, it's an Alpha. It's not a Giulietta. No, I'm not too familiar with the Alpha, so
Really,
I'm
Frank?
going to pass on that one.
That's okay. So,
Ooh, lekker. So half a point ahead. Yeah. Half a point. I got Alpha.
I'm going to go to the Jerry. Fritz,
Just
is
to
that
tell
half?
me-
Is it half a point or
Is it not
not?
a GT Junior?
It's a GTV.
That's a GT Junior.
It's a half a point to me.
Half a
and
point?
Actually, one of my teachers at school had that.
Really?
He had a red one.
You had them in the 1750 and the 2 liter.
Okay, let's give the point to Pete. Okay, so this is
So
the
I'm
only time.
going to mark it down. So
It's the only time that
Yeah,
you can.
fine, yeah.
that you
Pete.
can. Right. Let's
One.
go to number 2.
Peter, that is a BMW, and I would say that's.
2002.
You didn't call your name out. You didn't call your name out.
Half a point
And I
each.
was still
Half a point each.
giving the name.
Half a point each.
Okay, so that's half a point
That's
each.
half a point. Okay.
You have to shout the
Are
name.
you guys at home playing along? I don't see any answers in the comments. Murray, are you playing along, Brie? Darren, are you playing along? Peter Cronier, are you playing along? Okay. Peter 1 and Team Frank half a point. Let's go to number 3.
Frank.
Peter.
Oh, Frank was definitely.
280Z.
Yeah.
That's a 280Z.
Peter, 240. 240.
What did
Well,
you say? What did you say?
280Z.
Nissan 240D.
240.
Z.
Well, it's a Z.
240.
Oh, so we'll
You're
share.
right. Okay.
Half a point again.
Half. We kind
Okay,
of we
okay.
mixed and mashed the.
Peter gets nothing.
I said 240.
Yeah, but you didn't say your name.
I did.
He's
I did.
biased.
But late.
Rewind.
Late. Okay, so what's the points now?
Lagging.
2?
So that's it's one. It's
1 each.
one each. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Here's the next one.
Frank, that will be a. Yeah, it's a Challenger Charger.
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 Did you say Charger? Yes, that is absolutely correct.
There we go.
Good one.
Well done. Flippin' cool car, man. Yes, I like that car. The Dodge Charger. Okay, so now it's 2-1. Correct.
2-1, yeah.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
so 2-1.
And where are we, Fritz? Number 5. Here's number 5. Ooh, I made this difficult. This is so difficult.
That is
And
Frank.
it's actually so easy.
Frank, is it Pontiac Plymouth?
No.
Oh,
What?
I made this, it's so easy. You are going to kick yourself.
I know.
But this, I just made it a little bit too difficult. Think muscle car. Think what else? What?
oh, wait, Z28.
No.
No.
Look at the mirrors.
What was Delora?
No.
No, that was not a DeLorean.
No, not a DeLorean. Delora, the car from
No,
Gone
it
in
wasn't,
60
it
Seconds.
wasn't even called the Laura.
What was it called? What was the car in Gone in 60 Seconds called?
Mustang
not the
GT500. Oh, yeah. Eleanor.
Eleanor.
The
Eleanor, Delora, sisters. Come on.
I'm going to give you a bonus point for saying Eleanor. So give a point there.
Could it be a Mark 1?
Fritz, show them that car, bro.
It's a Mark 1.
That's the boss. Ford Mustang. Nice, eh?
Mark 1.
I thought it was.
I'm gonna give Frank another bonus point just because I want to. Okay, and let's see number 6.
Okay, I'll try, Frank.
Frank, what is that?
Z28.
No.
No, then I don't know.
Frank, are you gonna say Z28 every car that I show you? Is that what you're gonna do?
It should be some of them.
No.
Got no idea.
Fritz, maybe you should give me a clue.
I really don't know.
No ideas? Nobody at home?
Trans Am.
What's that?
Trans Am.
Yeah, but you saw the name.
Yes. No, I saw the name,
You can
obviously.
read. Okay.
No point for me, but when I saw the name.
Okay. I'm not going to give you a point for Trans Am. I'm just going to give you another point for being here. Okay. So, so at the.
No, I've lost. I don't think there's no comeback possible.
It's 7 out of 6 so far.
unless Farney puts 20 points on the
Yes,
final car.
let's throw a bonus point in here. I'm going to give you 10 points for the last one.
Okay.
Okay, so you can actually win this because it's 7-1 at the moment.
7-1, yeah.
7-1.5. Okay, 10 points on the last one. Here comes the last one.
Peter. No, I've got no idea. Yes, I do. Peter.
What?
Ford F-150.
No.
Blazer.
Oh, Peter.
It was so close.
But this is the one, it's not a Bronco.
The Chev Blazer.
But I'll give you that point.
Okay,
because
so-
I'm cheating. I'll give you this point. That's
How
your
did he
point.
cheat?
Well, let's
How
just
did
give him
you cheat?
let's just give him this point.
I've been donated
Okay.
points.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of the segment. Thank you so much, Frank and Caleb, for joining us. What a
pleasure.
pleasure
Thanks, guys.
having you on the show. It was lekker having. Where can people find you, Frank?
YouTube Frank's Way. You can have a look at Instagram, Classic Moto 1, and Facebook is Frank's Way channel.
Lekker.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Go follow Frank and Caleb and all their antics. Okay, so what have we got left? We've got how things work.
Yep.
And tonight we are talking about fuel consumption and the controversy of the manufacturers telling us that we're getting X, Y, and Z, something like. Anyway,
That's very good English. Well done.
this is proudly brought to you by Suzuki Auto South Africa.
Welcome to this week's episode of How Things Work, and in today's segment we're going to be talking to you about fuel consumption and the rather controversial issue of how do the manufacturers actually measure their claimed fuel consumption figures. So as the name suggests, fuel consumption measures how much fuel our vehicles consume and can be expressed as either liters per 100 kilometers, or as some people prefer, kilometers per liter. Now, most modern vehicles work out our fuel consumption for us, and we can see the results displayed on our trip meters. However, to work it out is a relatively simple process. So simply reset one of your trip meters to 0 when next filling up with fuel, and then fill up your car to its maximum level. To get the most accurate measurement, drive your car until it's almost empty before refueling. Now, fill up the tank again to the same level as before and take note of how many liters it took to fill up. And if you forget, don't worry, it'll still be on your receipt. And now you'll have exactly how many liters you needed to fill up the tank, as well as the exact distance you traveled using those liters of fuel. It is simply a question of dividing the amount of fuel you used in liters into the distance in kilometers you traveled, and voila, you have a fuel consumption figure of kilometers traveled per liters consumed. Now, if like me, you prefer to measure the fuel consumption in the form of liters per 100 kilometers, all you need to do is divide your number that you got into 100, and this converts kilometers per liter into liters per 100 kilometers. Now, you may have noticed that all manufacturers quote their fuel consumption figures, and in fact, it's a legal requirement for all new vehicles to have this information displayed when they're on the showroom floor. The debate has raged about how accurate these claims are and whether they actually translate into real-world conditions, and the jury is certainly out on this, although there are some vehicles that we've tested which gave us fuel consumption figures very close to the claim figures. So how do the manufacturers develop their fuel consumption figures? Well, firstly, as with most things in engineering, there are various conventions applied depending on what part of the world you're from. And there are three main testing procedures. There's a whole lot, but the main three are the European Union's new European Drive Cycle, or NEDC, which measures an urban and an extra-urban cycle. Other drive cycles included are the EPA federal test in the United States and the JC08 in Japan. We'll have a look at the European test, as most of our vehicles sold in South Africa use this convention, but we'll also explain some of the differences in the testing procedures across the globe, which will then explain to you or illustrate to you why we see such differences in terms of the claims that manufacturers make on their fuel consumption figures between different territories. So the urban economy simulates a 4,052 meter urban trip at an average speed of 18.7 kilometers per hour and at a maximum speed of 50 kilometers an hour. So quite precise, and I think there's a clue here that you'll see that these tests are very, very standardized, and there's a point behind that. The extra urban driving cycle lasts 400 seconds, or 6 minutes and 40 seconds, at an average speed of 62.6 kilometers an hour, believe it or not, and a top speed of 120 kilometers an hour. The main reason why these tests do not translate into real-world figures, I believe, is because amazingly the manufacturers are allowed to do the following. So they are able to disconnect the alternator, use special lubricants that are not typically used in production cars in order to reduce friction during the test, and turn off all electrical gadgets such as the air conditioner and radio. They're even able to adjust brakes or even disconnect them to reduce friction. They also tape up cracks between the body panels and windows to reduce air resistance, and we can see this, by the way, on Formula One cars. And they're able to even remove the wing mirrors. It's hardly how we would drive our cars. And while this may seem absurd, the reality is that Europeans are far more concerned about CO2 emissions than fuel consumption itself. And their tests are therefore more focused on emissions and the subsequent taxes that are applied to those emissions. Tests in the US and Japan are a little bit more accurate, however. The Japanese test is similar to the European test, but the cars are driven for longer and at higher speeds, which I think are a little bit closer to how vehicles are actually driven. And the US tests also simulate so-called urban and highway conditions like their European counterparts. But in the urban tests in the US, a cold engine is used, which is required to make 23 stops over a period of 31 minutes with an average speed of 32 kilometers an hour and a top speed of 90 kilometers an hour. The highway tests use a warmed-up engine and make no stops, averaging 77 kilometers an hour with a top speed of 97 kilometers per hour over a 16-kilometer distance. So you can see that the test in the US is a little bit more comprehensive than the one performed in Europe. The measurements are then adjusted downwards by a factor of 10% for city driving and 22% for highway to more accurately reflect real-world results. and then a weighted average of city at 55% and highway at 45% fuel economies are used to determine a combined rating. Finally, additional tests are conducted which measure the influence of higher driving speeds, harder acceleration, colder temperatures, and air conditioning use. So with all the differences in testing procedures which give us a varied result for the same car, it's no wonder we are skeptical about how accurate the figures are. But they do serve a purpose when we are comparing one car with another. And it's fair to say that if the same test procedures are used, it is an accurate measurement in determining whether one car has better fuel consumption performance versus another. And despite all the efforts being applied to tests to get them to be more representative of real-world driving conditions, it becomes very, very difficult to factor in our driving habits, the terrain that we're operating in, so hilly versus flat conditions, our temperatures, atmospheric pressures, altitude, and even the quality and grade of fuel we are using. So the next time your fuel consumption figures don't compare to the claim figures, don't stress too much. There are no conspiracy theories to provide misleading data, but rather inconsistency in the testing procedures and their actual use, which is mainly for licensing and tax purposes. And if you really are still concerned that your car is using too much fuel, there are a few online resources where thousands of drivers have uploaded their figures for comparison, and one such website is called Honest John. So we hope that you found that information on how the manufacturers develop their fuel consumption figures, and we look forward to seeing you on future episodes of How Things Work. Wow, there you go. So now you
Now I know.
now you have it, eh?
Now I know.
All right.
Thanks.
So, guys, I think before you leave, thank you very much once again for joining us. I've got two last questions. Frank, for you, future plans, especially with the channel?
Well, future plans for the channel is obviously always playing it forward, and that's at the given time now. That's what I want to do with it. I don't think it will change, but we'll obviously enhance on the content. I'll focus on content.
Yeah.
I don't focus on the subscribers, but yeah, playing it forward. And the right word I'm looking for is knowledge sharing.
Yeah, adding value. Like it.
Yeah.
Adding value. That's exactly it.
And then you, young man, Caleb, any messages that you've got for some of your friends and fellow school colleagues about the future?
Not really, to be honest.
Straight as it is.
Do you want to say how's it to your girlfriend, maybe?
No.
And listen to the one on the way here. He said to me briefly. He said to me, "Wow, on the TikTok channel that I've got, my friend says you just take random content off the internet and post it on your TikTok channel." He says, "It's my dad actually going through a river crossing." Oh,
Like it. Okay, guys, let's have some fun with tonight. We call it fun time. Meme of the week. Okay, Pete, so I've got some interesting stuff to show you. One of them specifically for you. Let's put up the first one. And this is for Frank because this made me think of him. Raise your kids on cars, they won't have money for drugs. Isn't that nice?
Actually, it looks like
It's true.
the guy that owns that car
Could
sells
be a drug.
drugs.
yeah.
I think that was very nice. Okay, here comes the one for Pete now.
Is this ageism coming up?
I'm lost. Time to turn down the radio so that I can see better.
Actually,
You've done that.
You've
You've done that. Yes, you did. Okay, and tonight's last little fun. Yeah, spoiler alert. Okay, spoiler alert.
Oh my. No.
Have you ever seen downforce like that?
I'd
Not
like to
even
see
F1 cars
his
can-
fuel consumption on that car. All that aerodynamic drag.
That brings us to the end of the show. Thank you very much, Frank and Caleb. Thank you very much, Peter, Fulun, and Fritz behind the scenes. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. What a unbelievable. So it's Friday. We do stuff on Fridays now because we're busy now, apparently.
And we can go straight away and have a beer.
Yes, okay. So we'll be back next week, Friday, at 6 o'clock, and have a wonderful week, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.